Satnam.
Satnam.
Siri Gian.
Guru Ravi, I just caught the end of it. Will you continue?
Oh, sure. I was I was just talking about some updates on Maida. Monday she had the tracheotomy, and she's developed some infections, and so they're working with that. And they placed a feeding tube in her, which was very positive, and she had some movement in her right and left side of the body yesterday that the doctors were very excited about, the brain activity there. And they've tried several times to wake her up, to take her off of the sedatives, and they have not been able to wake her up. But I was texting my sister, Sarah Shakti, her mom, this morning. I'd sent out a big box of products and asked her if there was anything I left out and that she wanted, and she gave me a few things to formulate, she said, for when Maida comes home for Maida. So I said that was the first time I've heard her and I think any of our siblings or mom have heard her be positive about that. So that was very uplifting that she's her mind is going that way, thinking about when Maida comes home. So that's amazing.
Well, that's really important, isn't it?
It's very important, yeah. And I was just thanking the Soul Tribe and Babaji for making her the group project, and we're just so, it's hard to wrap your mind around that. You're like, oh, that's so awesome, but it's like so, it's just so touching, and we're all just so grateful for all of the tribe and for you, Siri Gian.
And Baba Siri Chand for doing it all.
Yes.
And everybody participating.
Oh, everyone's participating so deeply.
Thank you so much, dear.
Thank you.
Okay, let's just start out. Even as we tune in, just bring metta to your consciousness. Sit straight. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't ask everybody who's here. Let's do that first. Who's here? So we know Guru Ravi is here.
Rahmani,
Sadhna,
and Tomas, and a friend, Jim.
And Jim. Welcome, Jim.
Hi. And Kathy's here from Alaska.
Hi. From where?
Kathy from Alaska.
Welcome, Kathy.
Here, this is Jerry from Juneau, Alaska.
Welcome, dear. And who else is here?
Suzanne from Dallas.
Hi, dear. How are you?
Hi. Very good, thank you.
Good. I just saw you're a painter and a potter.
I am.
I saw it on LinkedIn.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. Did you send me an invitation?
I don't think...
It doesn't work that way. I can never tell.
Well, nothing that you would be close enough for, but I should send out some... I should show you all my work, and I will. I'm just learning how to get all the pictures and stuff. I will. That would be
good. Nice. Thank you, dear. Yeah. And who else is here?
This is Jill from Iowa.
Hi, Jill. Welcome. Are you a friend of Sadhna's?
Sushma.
Oh, Sushma.
From Alaska, yes.
Oh, brother, she's our biggest supporter, let me tell you. Is Sushma Harimander here?
Yes.
Oh, good. Welcome, dear. And who else is here?
Sadhanam.
Kehar and Ramdeep.
Oh, Kehar and Ramdeep. Hi.
Yeah,
Sadhanam.
we're both here. Sadhanam.
And who else? There was another one.
Sadhanam.
Oh, hi, Sadhanam.
Hi.
Also called Manitya Atma, so that we all know who you are. And who else is here?
Haridas Kaur in Minnesota.
Hi, dear. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And who else is here?
Hargo Band.
Oh, hi, Hargo Bend. I'm in the process of putting up last week's Teletalk.
I just read your email.
Oh, good. Thank you for letting me know I hadn't done that.
Yes.
And who else is here? Okay. Who else is here?
Tina Pendleton.
Tina and who?
Nanjeet.
Nanjeet. Oh, welcome, dear. Glad to have you. And who else?
Carol.
Oh, hi, Carol. Welcome. And who else? Okay, that means we better get started. So now we are going to go back to keeping metta in our consciousness. Okay, begin long, deep breath. Sit straight. Focus at the third eye. And at the third eye, relax into your soul. As we do this, as you are relaxing in your soul, we are also in tune with Metta's soul, her being, her consciousness. Keep up the breath. Palms together. And inhale to begin. Long deep breath. And begin heart breath. That is long deep breath from the belly, through the nose, and on the exhale, feel as though the breath is coming out of your heart center. What is actually coming out of your heart center is healing energy. Please keep up. Keep up heart breath and allow your heart to expand. Good. Now, keeping Metta with us, keeping in mind her pure health on all levels. Keep her in mind. Keep her in your heart. And at the same time, please send your heart breath to Syria. what difficulties those people are going through now. Allowing compassion and comfort to go out in your heart breath. Cooling of tempers. Kindness, support. And now, doing your heart breath, please join with one another. Join this beautiful light, this consciousness, this awareness. Good. And let that light penetrate. Let it penetrate the ethers. Let it penetrate this everyday world. To move with grace, with kindness, with effectiveness through all layers of creation. Join together now. Good. Now inhale and exhale. And keep up the breath, keep up the intention. Okay, so Baba Siri Chand, he's saying to let everybody know that I never know what's going to happen word by before a word comes up. He says, we keep her. We just keep her. He says, we keep her like a dunce in the corner so that she may speak entirely from beyond ego, he says. Thank you, sir. Okay, so now, sir, what do you have to say today? He says, we have a very heartfelt reunion today. He says the reunion has to do with a reunion of hearts, but the heart he's talking about is way beyond what we would assume or wonder that is our heart. He says this heart that he's talking about, let me sort of see it first. He says that there is nothing without heart. What he's talking about, all of creation, you know, we hear God is love. He says, yes, that energy of total creation, of the total God self that he's talking about is the total creation of love. He says there is nothing that is not love. He says there are things that are that hide the love, that keep us in the dark regarding the love. He says, but understand that there is nothing within what he calls the God circle, and what is not included in the God circle, that is not love. So I'm asking him, sir, but what about Syria and all the terrible things that are happening there? He says, you will see, in the end, it will be total ecstasy, he says, total union. And so I'm saying, sir, can you elaborate on that? He says it takes a great deal of pain and suffering to move through the unconscious part or the unconscious aspect of the consciousness of this world. He says the consciousness of this world, the way it's set up, is that there is light and that there are doors that keep us from the apparent light. He says as you move into this Aquarian age, you are going to see that many doors of dark are going to open up to the light, to the love, to the joy, to the presence of the ecstasy, and the kindness of people uniting from what you call the heart, but it is from the purity of the totality. He says in order to reach that condition, he says you cannot open the door to the light unless you can see the door. Now, on the near side of the door is the dark, and through the dark we see the door. He says the way it's set up is that darkness is a prelude to light. He says this may happen in an instant. It may happen over eons. It may happen over lifetimes. It may happen over generations, but it does occur. He says that is what evolution is all about. He says you go from the light to the dark. He says, have you ever heard that expression before? He says, yes, it is when you chant Gurudev Namo, that's what you are naming. He says it is a process. It is a process of nature. It is a process of humankind. It is a process of evolution. He says so that when the dark appears to be apparent, he says go deeply into your soul self. Go deeply. He's asking you now to go deeply into your soul self. Know that right now. Go deeply into your soul self. Breathe.
There is an echo, Siri Gian.
Okay. Okay, so before we go any further, do you all want to stop this right now and call in again to get a better connection, or do you want to continue? What are your votes?
Siri Gian, it just sounded better. It sounds
Just
better now? Yeah.
God is great. He says it is a darkness to the light. Okay. Okay, if it's bothersome, you all let me know, and we'll all hang up and get back on the line, okay? Okay.
Siri Gian, what if you muted everybody?
Oh, that's an idea. Hold on. Let me try that. Okay, you can unmute yourselves by pressing *6, okay? Oh, let me know if this is better. Rahmani, press *6 and let me know if this is better.
It's better.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Very good.
Okay, good. Thank you, dear. Thanks for the idea, Kehar. Okay, so now go deeply within. He says there is a world of what you might call darkness. He says do not be afraid of it. Let go of the fear. Let go of the hurt. He says understand that this darkness, there is a velvet feel to it. He says, we have all been in the darkness before. We have all been there. He says, he's asking us actually to get comfortable with it. He says, because if we try to fight it, if we try to fight this darkness, you will only end up fighting and going into terror. He says, we don't want that. Oh, no. He says, I'm giving you the way out of darkness. Breathe, please. So the first step is to relax in the darkness. He says you could be in the middle of very awful circumstances going on. People and things being threatened. He calls it loss of life and limb. He says, do not fight it. He says, relax into it. Relax into it so that it does not have a hold over you. He says it's like one of those Chinese finger puzzles. You know, when you try to pull your fingers out strongly out of the puzzle, he says the finger puzzle only grabs you more. He says when you relax in that finger puzzle, that is when you can easily slide out. So the first step is to relax into this darkness. Now, he's not saying take the darkness on as your own. He is not saying that you should become the darkness in the sense that you join with it, you join with the consciousness. No, he's not saying that. He's simply saying relax. Like being in a dark room, you may not know what is around you. He says, but you cannot find the door, the way out, until you relax and get your bearings. That's what he's asking you to do right now. He says, okay, now here is a process to opening the door. Once you have relaxed, you relax into your heart breath. You relax into, he calls it the body of your soul. You relax into the body of your soul. You may feel yourself either descending through the darkness, ascending through the darkness, or simply expanding at the middle of the darkness. He said, or all of it. He says, do that now. Expand yourself as you relax. Relax into the soul. The soul being the body of light. Use your breath. And relax into that brightness. He said, now this brightness, he says, you know what it's like when you bring a flashlight into a dark room? He says, expand that. The proverbial candlelight, expand it. He says, you are not fighting the light, you are not fighting the darkness. You are simply bringing the light. Bringing the light. Keep doing that. He says, this is not just a metaphor. I want you to understand this. This is not just a metaphor. As you keep up expanding this light, he says he's going to tell you more about this. He says the light, he says you have your visual light. He says that is light on a certain vibrational plane. He says the light that I'm talking about and that you know about is the light of existence on a far greater plane. It is a certain vibratory rate that expresses itself to you as light. He says that is what you are consciously joining with and expanding within this darkness. Opening He says, now, do you see this beautiful crystalline light? It is not a hot temperature light. It is crystalline. It is totally pure. It is, he says, it is not actually a flame, but it is the pure essence of light because it is a vibratory rate. He says, please join this or breathe this beautiful light from your heart center. Good. Move it through the darkness. Move it through the darkness. By expanding, not controlling it, but by simply relaxing. Here's the difference. He says, don't try to control, but relax into the power of the light. He says, now please bring that to Syria right now. He says, don't let the heaviness of this darkness, he says, do not let yourself be buried under it. Hold your presence by relaxing into the light and using your breath. Keep doing that. He says that you are building the presence that flows through you as you do this. He says this is your classroom to learn this, not only in your consciousness, but what you are doing is actually confidently building the strength of your own light projection. He says, yes, it is he says it is a structured thing, but not structured in the way that we might think of it. So just allow the light. Find the wonder in it. Even through the tears, find the wonder in this expanding light. This expanding light is the pure essence of what we as humans experience as love. It's not a sentimentality. It is a strength. It is a power. It is the tool of evolution. It is the source and the object or result of evolution as well. When he says evolution, he means to a higher vibratory rate of cohesive consciousness. Please keep up your breath. He says you may join in any of the personal darkness that you also experience in your life or the life of others. He says, simply keep up now. Keep up joining in the light. Remember, your part is to stay present and to relax, to allow the light to flow beautifully, perfectly through you. That is your part. Keep up. He says, as we have talked about over and over again, you are being trained as very effective light workers. This is what you're doing now. He says, this is your lesson for today. Keep up. understanding who you are, understanding that you are a vehicle of the divine, and do not shy away from that. You are a vehicle of the divine. He says, as your essence develops, you will understand that you are the divine. He says, at this moment in our own personal evolution of consciousness, we understand that we are a vehicle of the divine. But you are the divine itself, moving through this created darkness to light. He says, as you do this, you may find that you encounter heaviness. You may find that you encounter division, separation, walls. He says it could be from generations back. Keep up your breath. Keep up your expansion, relaxing in that. He says that you could be encountering, he says, difficult misdemeanors in your own life. Any kind of resistance or stuckness. Simply relax. Relax totally into this light that flows through you, that frankly is you. Keep up. He says to tell you that I watched a Yogi Bhajan video yesterday. That Yogi Bhajan said that you are the light. You are the light that is changing the world. You are the lighthouse. He said, take my word for it, that you are the light, even if you cannot see your light. He says, for instance, a candle throws a shadow underneath it so that the candle sometimes cannot see its light. He says, but trust that you are the light and you bring this light to the world in your greatest humility, your greatest letting go of a small identity, which is often called ego. Just relax and open and let this light flow through you expansively, powerfully. Knowing who you are. He says, note what happens as you allow it to expand more and more. Good. He says, and now as you continue, allow yourself to experience the light, experience the purity, the clarity, and experience the love. Understanding this is your true presence. The light is your true presence. Now expand it. Expand it through all borders, through all regions that seem to doubt, that seem to hold back, allow the rays or the fingers of the light to penetrate. Until we know ourselves as one. One impenetrable light that penetrates all darkness. You are the center, the originator of that light. Now you are knowing yourself as the divine. Allow the light, as the sun allows itself to shine. Allow the divinity of consciousness to shine through you, as you. When you come across darkness, do not fight it, but relax and allow this incredible light of consciousness to shine, to penetrate, to in turn relax the darkness and allow it to come back to humble, pure, bright being. In this way you open the doors of the darkness to the light. And this is who you are, my darlings, he says. This is who you are. He says, now look around. Look around to see this unity that you have created within this tribe. Beings of light, consciousness of light. Allow and accept. He says, as we melt into one pure, unified fireball, not the kind of fire that hurts and scorches, but the fireball of pure love. Opening. Letting go of hurt, of jealousy, of suspicion. As you were in the light, you were not bowled over by what you would call threats. He says you simply reside in that power where those hurts are dissolved. And graciously and gratefully come back into this light. Return to their source. And that doesn't mean they go away, but they are transformed. The door is opened and the light is experienced. It is felt. It is seen. It is experienced. Dark is separation. Light is joining on the very finest level. Good. And knowing yourself to be one. In the presence, in the being of who you are, of who we are as the light worker, as a pure and single light worker. Let us put metta in our presence, in our light. This light that flows through. Good. Keep up your breath. And let her abide in this pure presence of light. Let her abide in this pure presence of light. Good. And continue the heart breath. And now he's saying, oh, my dears, it is time to share. He says, do you see how crucial it is for you to share? And he says, holding back your sharing is not actually humility in this case. He says, because we have to learn from each one. It helps us to join in this way. Okay, so who can share what they understood, what they experienced, what they know? Oh, wait a minute. You have to press *6. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to undo all of you. Oh, wait a minute. Let me do it one more time. Oh, good. You're all unmuted now. Okay.
Again, I can share.
Yes, Guru Ravi.
I had, again, like so many experiences, I know as we all have, one that stood out was the story of the research of the 100th monkey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I felt that happening. I felt us getting so close to that critical mass.
Yes, definitely. I felt that too. It was quite. How can I say it? I don't know how to say it. Sort of a revealing the presence of who we are together as a oneness. And did you want to say anything else?
Yeah, with the crystallization was very powerful experience.
Mm-hmm.
Also for me, Hargobind and Ranjit and I have been doing a meditation, and I believe he invited others to join us. We've been doing it for about a month, going to the mountain that we were raised on. It's a solid rose quartz mountain, and we would bring all of our ancestors there with us for healing us and them, and go back as far and as forward as we could. And that was, I felt like I was just sitting on top of the mountain, but it was like I was sitting as Shiva in a great expansiveness. And then the crystal, as I inhaled, the crystal was coming up into my, the base of my spine, and it was radiating out through the top of my head and out through my heart center with heart breath in all directions. And that was when I had the experience of the critical mass point, as we all joined together and sent that to Syria, but to everywhere where the darkness is waiting to move into the light.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, dear. Now, this sound, does everybody else experience the sound on the phone is kind of wonky? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to muting everybody again, but I want to let you know to unmute yourself by pressing *6. Okay?
Siri Gian?
Yes.
Can I share yeah. In Gospel of John, the writer suggests that for him, that Christ is represented by the I am the light of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so can I share a chant that I have been doing of that one?
Yes.
The words are very simple. Inanna nuche de alma. Inanna is when the infinite self and the finite self are integrated, or the I am presence. The I am that we are is the nuche, the light, the alma of the world. Here it is.
Wonderful. So can you just chant it 2 times for us?
Yeah. Inanna nure, inanna nure, inanna nure, inanna dhamma.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that, dear. And Baba Siri Chand says, yes, the light penetrates every path of light. Every path of light.
Yes.
He says it's very important to hold on to the strength of a particular path, but understanding that all paths are paths to the light. Thank you, dear.
And I particularly appreciated the image of the velvet quality of the darkness, and having such faith in the process of through the darkness to the light, or the guru, as Yogiji told us, that when the darkness is upon us, to not be afraid, because when I'm afraid of it, then I'm tense, and then the light can't flow. That's right. So for me to remember, both in my own experience, the process of coming through the worst of the dark, and it always ends up a blessing, and also leaning into the power of the group, because even sometimes when I can't see it for myself, I know it in the community of those of us on a very conscious path. It's so obvious. I see people around me on the path becoming brighter as the weeks and months go by, and it's such a confirmation of the reality of what's happening for us and through us.
That's right. And he says that's happening with you and Tomas and all of us. Thank you so much, dear.
Thank you, Siri Gian.
Yeah. Now, who else can share? Remember, press *6 to have yourself heard.
This is Honey Munder.
I'd like to share.
Yes.
It was nice to be reminded.
Hold on just 1 minute. There are 3 people. One was Honey Munder. One is a man's voice that we hear now, and there was a third person. Who was that?
Suzanne.
Suzanne.
This is Jim.
Okay. So we're going to take Jim, Honey Munder, and Suzanne. Okay, Jim, go ahead.
Just that it was a good reaffirmation for me to hear you say it's not a metaphor, it's not just a metaphor, but that light is received when we send it, that when we expand our heart, that energy is a real vibration that is received and felt, and so that's something that was a good reaffirmation for me.
Good. And he says, understand that what goes through your mind goes out.
Yes.
So he says that's very important to constantly deal with our minds, not to repress or suppress it, but to open up to the light. When you see that your mind is not going in a helpful direction, relax. Do your best to relax. Use some meditations, use some mantras, use the banis. Relax and be in that light to change our mind. Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay, Hadi Munder.
Yeah, the one thing that really got my attention was the fireball, the fire that wasn't hot but just pure light. Mm-hmm. And with that, I could imagine that fireball going over to Syria, going through the country around it, just completely, like you plow a field in a way. Only it's not plowing. It's anyway, just sending that fireball through the whole country was just really helped me.
Oh, how wonderful. How wonderful. He said it is true, and he appreciates your true heart. Thank you, dear. He says, please keep it up, and we can all keep it up. Okay, he says it is a visceral reminder of what we would call a tool, but it is he calls it a premonition or realization of reality, that our consciousness has the ability to, words are hard, that we have the ability to move or to engage in or to be in the presence of that creativity of light. Thank you, dear. Suzanne.
Hi there. Initially, I thought when I was experiencing the light, it felt very, very similar to the comfort a mother gives a child.
Oh,
and
precious.
Then I got, it's just so obvious that it's all around us. And then, but it also comes from the child, the baby, or even a puppy. How much back to the way, although you think you're giving it, in reality it goes back to the other way. And I think it's so natural. And maybe we just forgot that it was just so accessible.
How wonderful. He says, yes, that is a wonderful explanation of what's happening here with Metta.
Oh,
you see?
Yeah.
Very good. He says he very much appreciates your being very sensitive to that.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
Yeah.
Okay, now who else can share? Oh, by the way, I really appreciate that all of you just came and presented yourselves. That was wonderful. Now, who else? Who else can share?
Hadi Daskar.
Yes, dear.
Earlier in my life, I was a very active cave explorer. So for me, being in darkness is comfortable.
Wow.
And so this meditation just brought back to me the sensation of being able to sit quietly in the dark and not be afraid, and having the light be an organic presence, and having a light slowly illuminate the area around you, seeing the walls around you, having the light become so strong that the walls dissolve, and feeling a sensation of lifting, ascending with the light as it expanded was very interesting. Almost that sensation in scuba diving, that weightlessness. But it was a very, very beautiful process to be able to journey and share that light with both Metta and Syria and the people there. Thank you.
How wonderful, dear. Thank you. We appreciate that. And now we have time for one last sharing. Who can do that?
I can. This is Ranjit.
Yes, Ranjit.
Hello. The only thing that I wanted to share, because we're talking so much about light, is the part of an Indian prayer that I know, and the part of it for light is light before me.
Excuse me, when you say Indian, are you talking about East Indian or Native?
American Indian.
Okay.
It's light before me, light behind me, light at my left, light at my right, light above me, light below me, light onto me, light in my surroundings, light to all, light to the universe.
How beautiful.
I love that prayer.
Would you post that on our Facebook page?
Yes, I will.
Good. Good.
And
beautiful. Go ahead.
I was picturing when you were talking about the dark being like velvet, and I was thinking of her in her coma being in the black velvet. And as we pray for her today and all the other times, I just see that light. That light permeating not just through her entire brain, but her entire body. And it was just such a beautiful comfort for me today to see it, all of it, as being soft. And although it looks from the outside and knowing, the particulars about it, it looks so, for lack of a better word right now, heinous, so hopeless, or, going through those things. The light and the hope that has come from today and from all the praying that's been going on thus far, it was so comforting today to look at that darkness in a complete different light. And I just want to thank everybody and Baba Siri Chand and Yogi Bhajan and Guru Ram Das and everybody for, our whole troop, for all of the prayers and the light that has been shed on this entire situation to this beautiful human being. And I bow to everybody and thank you.
And we are appreciative also.
We're
appreciative of this, of all being drawn together, As you say, for this very precious human being. Bless you, dear. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Baba Siri Chand says, practice, practice, practice. Okay. So thank you, everyone. We love having everyone together and joining of this beautiful experience of light, of heart, of love. Okay, so sit straight. Oh, Kehar, you're on the line. Will you press *6 and lead us, please, in the closing song?
I'm here.
Yay.
Inhale. May the Lord shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on.
Inhale. And bow to your own beautiful, pure essence, which is joined with the essence of all. We are the all. Bless you all. Talk to you soon. Practice, practice, practice. Satnam.
Satnam.